Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hello, Giver Marketing Network here, and I am excited. I'm Deane, Team Director for Giver Marketing Network, and I love Tuesday morning broadcasts because we're always talking marketing, and that's really why I love to play. So welcome to everyone that we're collaborating with from Unicorn Universe, the Prepared Group, Kingdom Warriors. Hello, big shout out to all of our fans, and this is the place you want to be if you want to talk marketing on Tuesday mornings. So today, I am excited because we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, challenges. Yes, absolutely. Challenges, not just any challenges, but challenges that you can use for your lead gen. And this is a fun space to play in. Okay, when you think about opportunities to bring in leads, right? How do you do that? What does that look like? There's so many different options, and everybody always promises that they have the best answer, right? But you kind of have to figure out what works for you, what works for your business. So this is one of the options available, is to do a challenge. Now, this is something that I've done with my clients, and we've set these kind of things up, and you really have to dive in about what the challenge is, why you're using it, how you're going to use it, right? And create the right one for your business. But you might be thinking, okay, now, how does this challenge thing work? What exactly is a challenge? That's okay. I'm here to give you a hand. You ready? Let's dive right in. Okay, so you say, welcome to the challenge, right? The power of the challenge in lead generation is that it gives you an opportunity to really invite people in, right? So there's different kinds of challenges. There's different ways to host it. There's not really one right answer. There's a lot of different ways to do it. So you got to pick the one that works best for you. But it's a great way to draw in your ideal client, to get them to interact with you more. So you're going to use those to leverage, right, to gain information from people. So you're going to use it for lead gen. So the idea is I'm going to offer you something so incredibly awesome that you're going to want to give me your contact information so that you can be a part of it, right? So that's the whole goal. So there's really a lot of power in a challenge. There's an opportunity to use them, and maybe you just have it on your website. Maybe you're sharing it. Maybe you're recruiting people for it. Maybe you're using it to speak from stage, and I've seen that work very successfully. So imagine you've got an audience, whatever that audience is, whether it's you're on a podcast, anywhere else, and you're saying, hey, and I've got this free challenge. And they're like, oh, really? But the challenge has to be really good, right? Because you're going to want to draw them in, your ideal clients. So you really need to think about, what am I going to do with this? Right? Because if it brings in the right people, now you're building your list, right? You've got an opportunity to get the people that are really interested in what you're doing to have a conversation with you, get involved with you in some way, give them an opportunity to interact and see what it's like to work with you. But challenges are set up in a way where it's one to many. So rather than them getting to know you on a one-on-one basis, it's really a one-to-many basis so that it doesn't take as much of your time. So it's a little bit gentler on the need for how much time you have to invest in somebody where they get a chance to get to know you. So there's really a lot of options when it comes to challenges. So, okay, what is a challenge, right? So the challenge is an interactive. Interactive is really important because if we're not interactive, people kind of just drop off and they're not interested. Interactive is important, right? Goal oriented. You've got to have an absolute goal in mind, right? That encourages participants to complete specific tasks or a series of tasks. And a lot of times you want to give them a reward or some kind of incentive. And that could be really something simple as in, gives them access to maybe an awesome book that you've got. Maybe it's access to a special mastermind that you've got. Maybe it's, right, whatever little carrot you want to dangle in front of them. Maybe it's access to your private group, right, for a free month of something or other. You just never know. It just kind of depends on your audience and what they need in order to feel motivated to participate, right? But some kind of incentive is always nice. Challenges are designed to engage and motivate, right? The goal is to get them moving, right? Get them to participate, going towards that target, right? And so with your audience, you got to know your audience. That's going to be key on this, right? You're going to provide them with clear objective and enticing rewards. That's what it's about. So let's dive a little bit deeper. So the key elements of your challenge needs to be, okay, what's the goal, right? And you got to think about, okay, for my business, what would I offer that would be irresistible for my clients? What does that look like? What goal would they want to achieve that I could help guide them there, right? Without doing one-on-one, but giving them one-on-one information, right? What would they really want? So this way, you know that they're wanting to interact with you specifically, right? It's got to be something that you offer specifically that would make them go, ooh, that was awesome. Now I want to do this with that business, right? So it's a specific duration, right? So the idea of a challenge is it's going to be a 3-day challenge, a 5-day challenge, a 7-day challenge, a 30-day challenge, whatever it is that you think would work well for your client base and what it's going to take, right? So you got to give them a specific start and specific end. Right? Daily actionable steps. The idea is to get them into a habit, right? And get them rolling with a rhythm, right? And that's where the daily actionable steps. Now you got to be careful. How much time are you expecting them to invest? And you got to think about that, right? For your audience, does it make sense? What kind of challenge is this that you're wanting them to do a daily action? You know, what's too much for your audience versus what's too little and really they're not putting any effort in and they're not going to learn anything out of it, right? So you got to figure out what that is exactly for your audience, right? And the community engagement aspect, right? So maybe it's attached to a Facebook group. Maybe you've got a dedicated platform. Maybe you're using School. Maybe you're using a Go High Level community, right? But a lot of times that engagement factor, something that gives them an opportunity to share and interact with each other, right? When you start building community, it changes the way they see you and the way they see what they're working on. And a lot of times it's nice to have a support system. So it gives them somebody, kind of an accountability group even, right? So they can see what they're doing, what other people are doing. Oh yeah, wow, right? And it kind of gets them motivated more, right? And it needs a call to action, right? For the next step after the challenge. You got to think of, okay, I've got the challenge, then what? Right. So now that we've created the challenge, what's the next step? What do I want them to do? What's a natural progression for them working on this challenge? Now they want to do what? What are they so excited about? Right. So you got to plan the whole thing. You can't just be, I'm going to have a challenge and boop, it's done. Thanks. Bye. Right. It's got to relate to something else. You want to use that as a stepping stone to the next thing. So those are some of the key elements of your challenge. Right. So when you think about, okay, it sounds a little bit complicated, but I think I can handle it. All right. Right. So you're thinking, well, why would I go through all this trouble? But think about it for a moment. Okay. Why offer a challenge? Right. If I'm going to sign up for a challenge for me personally, it's going to be something that I'm interested in. Right. So first off, you know that they're at least interested in the subject area that you're expert in. Okay. And you think about, okay, if I'm going to sign up to do it, that means I'm somebody that takes action. Right. So if I'll sign up for this, what else would I sign up for? And how many steps will it take to get me to the point where I'm actually participating in something paid? Right. But it's that gentle steps into taking action. So, but there's a better chance of somebody that signed up for a challenge, they're going to take action than someone who just scrolled on by. Right. So there's a certain level of actively participating. If you can get them to actually complete the challenge, that tells you this is something that's really important to them and that they were willing to put the time and effort. What else would they be willing to put the time and effort into that you could help them with, right? What makes sense? So this is a great opportunity to generate those high quality leads, people that are actually interested in your skill sets and what you're teaching. Right. One of our gals in Giver Marketing just recently did one about being your own PR boss kind of thing. And so when you think about that, that makes sense. Oh, yeah, I'm interested in PR. So if they take a challenge with her and they're doing a PR, then it's like, oh, that's something that they're really interested in. She has an opportunity then to use this for lead gen to see if there's any other services related to PR that they might be interested in. And if you're interested about that, let me know. I'll put you in touch with her. But there's an opportunity, right? Don't miss the opportunity. And you think about increasing your brand awareness, your loyalty. If you're offering a free challenge that's going to help your community, right? They're building their confidence in you. If they go through it and they go, wow, that was amazing and that was free. Imagine how good the paid stuff is, right? So you start getting them thinking, you're building your credibility with them, and you're really building that brand loyalty because they're like, man, that person who put that challenge together, they just knew what they were talking about. I actually learned something. I felt like I accomplished something in the end, right? It feels good, right? I liked what they had to say, especially if you involve videos, voicemails, anything like that, text messages. It gives them a chance to kind of get to know you and your personality. So it really helps build that kind of loyalty. I've mentioned sometimes that when I was teaching, I would often do the workshop at the beginning of the year and I would explain the different kinds of speeches that we gave. And so the students would watch those. And then when I would see them at a speech tournament, they'd be like, hey, Miss D, they were all excited to see me because they felt like they already knew me because they'd already interacted with my videos. Right. So the same thing can happen with a challenge. If you're using videos as part of it, they really get a chance to get a feel for your personality, get a chance to build that credibility. Right. Other thing would be gathering valuable customer insights, right? You can kind of use it as sometimes a testing ground. You could do a challenge that adds value to them and you can see where the questions are. If you offer a survey with it, what's going on, where are they dropping off, right? There's a lot of opportunities to kind of see what kinds of things they find valuable and which areas you might need to beef up a little bit more. Maybe the challenge is a start and you're gathering information and doing kind of a feedback in your small group to go with it, with the idea that you're now going to build a whole course on it. But you kind of wanted to test the waters first. This is a great way to do that. Right? So there's a lot of different ways to use challenges. I love using challenges for lead gen for a large audience. For example, you're speaking on a podcast, you're speaking from stage, right? And a lot of times, depending on where you're at, they may or may not want you to actually offer something that's paid. They might want you to offer something that's free for the audience. And that's what tends to be what we do on Giver Marketing, like give something away to the audience, make them feel loved and cherished, right? So you have that opportunity with the challenge. If you're offering a free challenge, right now, people that are signing up for that free challenge when you offer it from stage, it gives them a chance to interact with you more. It has a chance for you to get that contact information that you can use later, right? So challenges are a great way to just kind of build your community and draw in your ideal clients. But you got to know a lot about your audience to really know what's going to sing to them. So some examples on types of challenges you might do, right? You might do a how-to challenge. Right? You're going to teach them how to do something very specific. Like we mentioned, doing your own PR. This one talks about like learning to code in 5 days or master your email box in a week, right? There's simple how to do something, right? How to create viral social media posts, right? Something I've talked about in the past. So there's how-tos. Those are nice and simple, right? Or outcome-focused challenge, right? The goal by the end is you should achieve this, right? So lose 5 pounds in 7 days, launch your first podcast episode. The idea is by the end, they've achieved a goal that makes them feel good about their business and feels like they're moving their business forward. If you're working with business owners, or maybe you're working with, maybe it's a B2C business that you have, a business to customer business. And so maybe they're getting towards those goals, like we said, like they're losing weight or feeling better or changing their mindset, right? There's a lot of different ways you can run that. Or discovery and exploration challenges, getting them to start thinking in a different way, uncovering insights like, have you ever thought of, right? So kind of getting to discover and play with things. Or products and service specific challenges, right? So you're going to have them solve the problem, but using your service or using your product, or right, there's options in there. So kind of play around with the ideas, right? So think about your ideal client and what kind of challenge you might want to do that would work well, right? What would they find valuable? That would be something you could do maybe a series of videos on, right? You could do a series of text messages, things that could get them revved up, right? So if you have a health and wellness business, could it be a fitness challenge of some sort, right? Is it, 5 push-ups today, 10 pull-ups tomorrow, whatever it is that you want to have them do, right? Yeah, think about what makes sense for my client and who they are, right? Is it a fitness challenge? And we talk about knowing your audience, right? Are these new people that have never done any kind of fitness before, or they haven't done it in a long time? Or is this a fitness challenge for getting former athletes back into, being competitive with marathons, whatever, right? To really know your audience, what level are they at? What's going to make sense for them? What's going to draw your ideal client in? Right? Skill building contests. Those are always fun. Learning how to do something new, learn Canva in 5 days with my Canva 5-day challenge. Oh, really? Yeah. In just 30 minutes a day, by the end of the week, I guarantee you'll be able to, right? So gives them an excuse to work with other people and build those skills, right? Educational challenge. Maybe you're wanting to learn something. And educational challenges are, well, being a former college professor, those are kind of near and dear to my heart anyway. But there's some options, for learning. We always love to learn and grow. Well, some of us do. And then other ones, maybe it's a creative challenge, right? Getting them going. Maybe it's getting them to start working on a book, right? And first we're going to start thinking about your superpowers and your themes. And maybe the next day gets them thinking about, okay, what would be the main chapters that you would want to talk about, and what's your draw into it? What makes you an expert in this area, right? And so maybe every day kind of walks them through that process. So by the end of the challenge, all they need to do is actually sit down and fill in the outline for the book, right? And if you were a book author, you would probably, or wanting to be a book author, you would be interested in something like that. And if someone's business was to publish books, right, then it would make sense for them to do a challenge like that, because now you step right into, okay, now I've created it. Oh, you can publish it for me? Great, right? So it draws them right in. It's just a nice stepping stone to get them into your other services, right? Or a charitable challenge. So if we've seen things where they did the ice bucket challenge, and they were putting hot ice water on people and buckets of ice and all sorts of things. So things that are funny, things that grab your attention, things that get us thinking differently, right? All sorts of different kinds of challenges. So the sky's the limit. Don't overcomplicate it too far, though, right? We want something really simple and actionable, where by the end they feel like they've moved the needle on whatever it is they're trying to learn, right? So maybe like we said, 5-day fitness jumpstart challenge, right? Or a 7-day content creation challenge, 3-day social media growth challenge, right? Take these steps, and by the end you will have, right, more views, or maybe you've got more followers, right? Depending on what the goal of it is. So there's all sorts of really fun challenges. Think of this as an opportunity to interact with your ideal client and bring them in, right? Pull them into your ecosphere. That's really what it's about. So when you think about creating your challenge, right, you really need to think about the steps, right? So define your goals and your target audience. Okay, so take a moment, think about what would be the goal that they would want to achieve, that they would go on this challenge journey with me, right? What would that look like in your business, right? When people come to you, what are they trying to achieve? So if you kind of know the problems that you're trying to solve for your client, Those are all going to be ideas you might want to think about for a challenge. Okay. And what your audience is, right? Who's your audience? What would make sense to them? Now, we need to choose an engaging challenge theme. Okay. So talked about here's our goals. And now here's the theme that we're going to run with, right? Are we opening our mind? Are we changing our habits? What are you wanting them to do? What's the theme that we've got here going, right? Something that they're going to really be like, ooh, I want to do that, right? Then you're going to have to outline your structure. What does this look like? What's the timeline look like? Are we going to do just 5 days, in, out, done? Are you going to make it so it's evergreen so that people can join anytime? Are you going to make it and then have them, end up in the group every time? This way they can all share and it just becomes an evergreen group with an evergreen challenge going on. Do you want to funnel them to a certain location, right? But what do the steps look like? Okay, so my structure, am I going to do a video and an assignment? Do they have a homework assignment every day, right? What do those steps look like? Okay, and think about how are you going to get that to them. This is where the CRMs come in handy. If you have an all-in-one marketing CRM, I use Go High Level. It's one of my favorites. And so we actually go through and we set up so that they get an email every day. They get a text message every day. It checks to see whether or not they've opened it. If they haven't opened it by the end of the day, it sends it to them again, right? Things like that. There's all sorts of fun little steps you can put in there. But what does that look like? What's the goal? And kind of lay it out day by day. What does it look? And does every single one of those steps lead to that goal by the end? Okay. So you kind of outline what you're going to do with it. And then we're talking about, okay, what's the prize or the incentive? So for this, right, like they could get a gift card. Well, sure they could, but does that really tie into what their goals were, right? What was the goal of your challenge? And what could they get out of it by the end? Something that, and it could be something, if you want them to get on a one-on-one call with you, maybe it's that free coaching session at the end, but they had to earn it, right? Maybe it's an access to a group that you've got. Maybe it's an access to a greater challenge. Maybe it's a discount for something that they wanted, right? So figure out how are you going to incentivize this? And it really depends on your audience and what they want, right? And then you're going to have to promote and market the challenge, right? You can't be like, I created it, I put it on a billboard, they will come. No, it's not one of those if you build it, they will come things. You have to let people know that you're doing it, right? Hey, I'm doing a really cool challenge, right? Reach out to those that might be interested in the kind of challenge that you're offering. So whatever it is, think about, okay, that ideal target audience. Okay, now I need to reach out to them, right? Are you going to post it on social media? Are you going to send text messages? Are you going to send an email campaign out and let them know when it's starting and getting them excited about it? What are you going to do to help promote that? But you got to let people know, otherwise you're the best kept secret, right? So we got to have to promote it. So make sure you put that as part of your strategy, whether you want to run ads or don't run ads, or you want to do it organically, whether you want to have a core team work with you on this challenge and get them to invite their people, right? And maybe it's a challenge that is a collaboration challenge that involves several different people and you guys are all doing it together, right? And for example, we were talking about PR, we were talking about books, we were talking about, right? So if you were to team up with those people and each one of them did a different day in your challenge, right? So that they all get exposed to the audience and did a group challenge and you all put it out to all of your audience, that would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it? So there's some potential there for collaboration. Always looking for opportunities. So I'm going to just show you a challenge demo. If you want to take a look at one that we've put together, go ahead and scan that code right there. This is my challenge demo we put together for Elizabeth Inspires. She's a motivational speaker, helping with overcome, helping people just live a better life because sometimes life is challenging. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on the screen, right? That code is going to take you to her landing page. So when you've got your challenge ready, okay, you have to have a landing page so you can send people to sign up for it, right? So she put a real simple one together. right? So we're talking about, 5 days to inner awakening challenge. Okay. So she's saying exactly what the goal is. And she's saying, okay, you're going to rediscover peace, purpose, and presence in just 5 days. That sounds pretty good, right? Who doesn't want more peace in their life? Doesn't want to have a better sense of purpose and presence in their life, right? Love that, right? So kind of feeling stuck, overwhelmed, disconnected. So she's telling you what kind of problems she's solving right off the bat. She's letting you know what to expect, right? Definite start and end date, right? It's got 5 days. And she's saying in just 5 minutes a day. Oh, well, that's not too bad. I can handle 5 minutes a day, right? Whereas if she said just 5 hours a day, that'd be a whole different story, right? You're like, let me think about this a little bit more carefully, right? So think about what makes sense for your audience. How long do you want that to be? Right. So you're going to learn how to silence the chaos, reconnect with your soul, and step boldly into peace, clarity, and purpose. I like that. If I was going through some turmoil right now, and most of us usually are at some point in our lives, right? I could say, ooh, yeah, I could use a little bit more peace in 5 minutes a day and it makes me feel better. Sign me up, right? So she's got the get started. And then she goes into more details, right? So your landing page can be elaborate. It can be simple. You could just have a short video at the top. You could just have an image and a really quick, right? So it's up to you on how detailed you want to make this, right? This lets them go if they could sign up or they could keep going down the landing page, right? So in the next 5 days, you will, and she gives you exactly what she's promising. I'm promising you're going to be able to do these things. She's not really promising, but you know what I mean, right? So this challenge is for you if, and so she helps you identify if you're the right person, right? Oh yeah, that's me, right? If you're reading this challenge is for you. Yeah, that's me. I feel that, right? Then you're going to draw the right people in. So she's letting him know right away if they're the right people. And then she talks about how it works. So you're going to get a short, soul-stirring email guided to pause, reflect, even if you only have 5 minutes, right? And you're like, okay, daily emails. So that tells us we need to check our email, right? She's talking about more than just another challenge, an invitation, right? Once again, why this is important, what kind of clarity this can bring to your life. And then she's got some quotations from testimonials, right? So once again, it's get started. So if we get started, what that does is that takes us to the page where we get to register, right? You got to get their contact information. So right now she's got it listed. This is normally a paid challenge, but she's got it marked to 0. So you put all your contact information and join the challenge. She even tells you where to look for the emails from, right? So this is all part of that sign up process. And boom, you start getting the emails. So when you think about the steps, right, you're really thinking about how to get them from here to here, right? So, here's the landing page, something at the top to get them to click and get started, but maybe they need more information, right? Some of us are overachievers. We got to read everything, right? So, we want to have more on the landing page, hopefully, where we can read through and go, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to get out of it. Get us to the end, move us to the next page, get us to sign up, and then instantly get out something to us, an email, a text message, whatever, and kind of get us excited about what it is. Now, from a outside perspective, this is what it looks like, right? From the inside perspective and what you have to do to make it, right? That's a little bit more detailed. So I want to show you what it looks like from the back end. Are you ready? This is a little intimidating. This is in Go High level, and this is how we set them up. And you're like, oh my goodness, what is all that, right? So I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit for you, make it a little bit easier. Right. So you might come in and you've got some kind of trigger. So they submitted the form. That's the trigger. Okay. And then from there, you've now added a tag. So you know that they're in whatever the name of your challenge is. Right. So all that's going on in the background. They don't know anything about this, but this is for your organizational purposes. So you can know who's been enrolled in it. Right. Now we get the confirmation email. So that's what they get first, right? Saying, thank you for entering the challenge. Right. Kind of getting them started, letting them know what to expect, right? So that's a real simple email to start with, right? So it's who it's coming from, where it's coming from, welcome to the challenge, it's got the details, welcome video, right? So all of this you're having to put together ahead of time, right? Because you want to have them dive into it. So you have all the smooth stuff taken care of, right? So the next morning at 8 a.m., they get an email. Okay, so they wake up at 6 a.m. and boom, it's waiting for them, or whenever they wake up. All right, and then we're waiting until 9 a.m. before we send a text message because 6 a.m. is a little bit early to be texting people. right? And then that night at 7:30 at night, we go, oh, okay, let's check and see, was that email opened? Right? If it was opened, then they wait until the next morning and then they start day 2 challenge. If no, it wasn't open, then they get email number 1 with a new subject line because they didn't get the first one, right? They weren't staying on top of it. So they were kind of reminding it. And then once you send that second one, then they go back into the wait in the morning, right? So that's set up with every day. So they get a reminder if they didn't get the first one, right? So there's wait until the text, right? And so it goes all the way through to the end. And we have this one set up. See, it goes on and on. This is only a 5-day challenge. And then when you get to the very bottom of it, you might add a bonus in, right? So once we say, okay, once they finish the challenge, now what? So when we get to the bottom of all of this, it's a little bit techie, right? So the last one, she did a bonus email on Saturday, right? And so that's the last step. So she did a Monday through Friday challenge and then ended it with the last step with the bonus. So whatever that bonus is, you got to decide what's their next step. What makes sense for the flow that you want them to follow, right? So we've got them interested. They signed up. They completed it. They're going to show you in some way what kind of proof did you have that they completed the challenge. Are you having them submit things? Are they supposed to be responding to emails? Are they uploading things? How are you wanting to know, right? And that last day could be a bonus information, right? And here's my bonus guide on, or here's access to the masterclass, which is kind of a fun thing to wrap everything up at the end and gives them a chance to ask questions and talk with you. But you could end your challenge with a masterclass. There's so many possibilities. And now you got to ask yourself, okay, now what? Always ask yourself, what's next? Okay, so they've got the masterclass now, perhaps, that you've funneled them into, they've signed up. Now, what are you going to do for next steps after that? Right. So the idea is to pull them into your ecosphere, bring them into your communities, build that relationship with them. And are we upselling a group coaching at this point? Are we upselling one-on-one coaching, right? What does that look like for your business? Are you wanting them to buy a course, right? So you got to get them to start investing in your business, right? And they're buying things. So pulling them on that journey, just kind of taking them by the hand and walking them along. So you have to have those irresistible offers to start with, right? And the irresistible offers to get them to actually purchase. And maybe because they went through the challenge, they get a special discount or some kind of special bonus to go along with what they normally would get. Does that make sense so far? Y'all following me? I hope so. This is the process that we go through with our coaches, our authors, our consultants, our speakers, right? Challenges are a great way to just pull in your audience and get them involved. It's a fun activity. It can really give you an opportunity to really engage and enact with your audience. And I'm big on that. That's one of my things, building relationships. And so you have an opportunity to use these challenges to really build those relationships. So once again, if you wanted to check out a challenge that's already put together, you want to go through it and work on that inner awakening, feel free to scan that one. I have Elizabeth's permission to share that. So you can go on a journey with her. Right. So the key takeaways I want you to remember from today are that challenges really can be a powerful tool for lead gen, right? This is an opportunity where you're not necessarily having to meet with everybody one-on-one. So it saves you some time, but it gives them a chance to get to know you still. And once you've got those lead gen lists, right, what are you going to do with them? Right. So how are you going to use that to get them towards being part of your services and part of the products that you offer? What does that look like? So have a whole plan, right? It's got to be a full marketing plan. It can't just be one part of it. You got to tie it all together so you can benefit from it. A lot of times people will put something together and then not know what that next step is, in which case you've just kind of lost that opportunity. Don't drop the ball on that. Right. Maybe you've got a newsletter or a follow-up survey and you let them choose what they're interested in. And maybe by choosing a certain area, you can have a whole drip campaign ready to go on that area of interest. Right. So what would those next steps be? right? And for those that choose not to opt into whatever you've got, maybe you have something more gentle that you're going to drop them in to continue to nurture those relationships. Maybe they're not ready to make a purchase right now. Some people need time to think on it. Right. So that's okay. Don't just be like, oh, you didn't buy at the end of the challenge. Oh, well, goodbye. I don't want to talk to you ever again. That's not how that works. You need to continue to nurture that relationship and continue to grow it to the point where when they are ready to step forward, you're top of mind because they've been nurtured through emails and text messages and being invited to other challenges and things, right? So use this as an opportunity for lead gen and continue to use it to help really work with those potential clients. Right. This is, helping you engage with your audience. Right? This gives you a chance to see what's important to them, an opportunity to interact with them. It's a great chance to use polls, ask questions, and get to know your audience and kind of really dive in with your target audience. It's all about opportunity. Whether or not you take advantage of it to build relationships with them or not is your choice. So how deep do you want to go with this? What's that look like for you? And there's so many different challenges to choose from. You might be thinking, oh my goodness, this was a lot of information. Okay, I'm thinking, okay. And there's no wrong answer, right? But there's ways that are more effective. So if you're looking for advice on this is something that I just think is so much fun. And it just gives you so much opportunity. So if you're ready to get started and you're like, I'm wanting a little bit more advice, Christine, but this sounds like fun, right? Reach out, scan that QR code, book an appointment with me, and let's talk a little bit about challenges and what makes sense in your business, because this is one of those opportunities to really have fun and dive into your business. If you look at it like work, then it feels like work, and working with them feels like work, then you're not having the right vibes, right? It's not feeling good. You want this to be something fun. And if you like to build community, this is a great way to do that. And I'd love to help you with that journey. We've got so many amazing marketers with Giver Marketing Network that all have areas of specialty. So when you're trying something new and you're looking for advice, you're like, okay, that's really cool, but I don't even want to do that. I want someone else to build that for me because that looks kind of confusing and I don't want to do it. We have experts in the group that help with all sorts of things. We have Go High Level experts. We have experts in other CRMs. Different email programs, you name it, we've got people. So if this is something you want help with and you're like, I want to do it and I don't want to actually do it, I want you to create it, we have people that can help you with that. And it's wonderful having so many brilliant marketers at our fingertips. Now, if you want to talk with me, totally free consultation. Did I say free? Yeah, it's free. Just make an appointment with me and I would love to talk with you. So hopefully today you learned a little bit more about challenges. Hopefully I've got you thinking about your opportunities and what you can do with it. Like I said, a lot of my clients like to use them for speaking from stage. So if you like to be on podcasts, if you like to speak on stage, if you wanted to add something different to your coaching business or your speaking, you're trying to draw people in, consider it a challenge, right? It can be a lot of fun. It's not one of those really expensive lead gen options. Some of them can be really expensive. I've got a client that gives away free TVs and does drawings, right? I mean, that's a little bit more expensive. But challenges can be a great, fun, interactive way to really draw in your ideal client. So I'm going to encourage you to give it a try and feel free to put comments in the chat about what you might want to do and maybe help somebody else with some ideas. But let's have some fun. And before I forget, so we wrap things up here, let me remind you that we have networking for marketers. So if you are in the marketing space, if you are in the PR space, if you're in the media space, don't be a lonelypreneur. Come hang out with us. If you go to givermarketing.com/networking, you can register once, save the link, and come hang out with us on Wednesdays. So we meet on Wednesdays, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern. That's 10 a.m. Central if you're in Texas or Central area like me. Come hang out. Let's have some fun. Don't be a lonelypreneur. We love working together and collaborating. So come on by, visit. And if you want to come hang out with me and ask questions about the challenge, you never know. We could have a lot of fun together. I'm looking forward to it. Once again, I'm Christine Deane, Team Director at Giver Marketing Network, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we have Rob Turley, and he's going to be talking about data and metrics and all that really, really like important number stuff. So he's going to be doing some number crunching with us. Don't miss it. So we'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.